Yeah. Let's skip that. That's about 1 billion people on that. So that was it. Is that the end of the game? I guess the last 2 missions just dovetail. Like, I can replay the resume. Suppose you just see the end sequences, just the end bit. No, they didn't tell you what happens to Case. Gets crazy. Does he die? I suppose I better review this thing. So, okay. Let's get out of where there's actually. Let's get out of here. Let's see. Am I still recording? Oh well, the music's going to play. Whatever. So, Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Yeah, I did enjoy this one. I mean, there's a whole load of stuff in this game. There's a whole load of different levels to talk about. The first would be the campaign. So I thought the campaign was really good this time. I thought the story was pretty good. I mean, they kind of set up your character as potentially building towards maybe having a decision at the end where maybe he's been like brainwashed, and there's going to be a moment where he has to make a choice where you have to decide whether or not you're a good guy or a bad guy, or maybe you have to overcome it in a mission or whatever. That never really happens. They kind of get to a point where it's building to that, and then it switches to Harrow, your contact, who put you on this course for this mission. She ends up being the kind of secret bad boss, and you play as her for a level, and that's fine, but that was probably the weakest part of the story. The build-up for the rest was really good. I liked the initial missions. I liked the idea of going and collecting your team, so you have to save Adler, then you have to get Sev, and Julian, I think, was the other guy, like the digital wizard guy. He was probably the weakest, but I thought the guy that played Troy Washington, he was really good. That character was really good. And I liked all the operations where you were assassinating a guy in a boat to get to this certain place. Then that allows you access to the next level and the next level. So it all kind of dovetails and ties together quite well, which sometimes these games don't. But the ending was a little bit weak. I didn't really like the Harrow switch. Spoilers, she's the bad guy, as I said already. And then I wasn't really sure about the ending where you just kind of like your character, who is... Well, he has a name, but he doesn't speak throughout the whole thing. Just kind of disappears to blackness. And then the ending is just basically you being told that you're going to now be like this covert undercover team, which you have been for the last 5 games and 6, including this one. So anyway, that aside, the campaign's usually the weakest part of the Call of Duty experience in more recent years. But this is probably the best one that's been around since like Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2 that were particularly good. Black Ops 3 not so much, but I do feel like this they did a good thing with this. So really like the campaign, like the animations and everything, like in the cutscenes, are amazing now. Like all the facial movement, all of the acting and the motion capture, that's all amazing. There wasn't any point in this game where there was sudden pop in or like things didn't load. I've experienced that in the past, not in this at all, so I really like that. And the quality of the actual minute to minute gameplay, I mean, it's Call of Duty, they've got this down to an absolute fine art. So the selection of weapons are varied. There's stuff everywhere. You can, they employed the armor system that they have in Warzone now, which I think is good. So you can take some hits if you've got the right amount of armor, and if if you're not wearing armor, you die quicker. So I think because of that, it's good to play this on a slightly harder setting than it is just on the standard, because you'll just walk through on normal with that mechanic. Before you didn't have that mechanic in previous versions of this, or a few games ago, you wouldn't have had that armor mechanic. But now you do. It does give you another level of kind of tactical gameplay, gives you a chance to survive more within these firefights. And because of that, I think playing on a harder difficulty, I played on I didn't play on the ultimate hardcore, but I played on the kind of the next one down, the kind of second hardest, and I think that was a good experience for me. So overall, yeah, I loved the campaign. I thought it was really good. Like I said, the ending was a little bit weak, but everything about it's just great. I mean, it's a masterclass in how to, how to set up a first-person shooter, and the AI of all the characters, which can sometimes let these games down, was on point. They're all really good. There were a lot of enemies, like different enemy types, but I did feel like there probably could have been a few additional ones. Like you'd get through the waves of like the typical cannon fodder. You'd maybe have a few elites that were coming in, and that made it a little bit harder. Then at the end, you'd have like the guy with the big machine gun, and that was just like step and repeat on a lot of these missions. I feel like you could have varied that up a little bit. Maybe had some of the missions where they weren't in it, some of the missions where there were a lot of them you had to take out. So there was no real challenge on that point as far as the enemy types go. Maybe there's a few different scenarios where they could have made that a little bit more difficult. But no, overall, I thought it was really good. I think these games really benefit from having the hub, so having the Rook's base or whatever, the mansion, being able to wander around in between missions, listen to pre-recordings if you want to. You can do all the seeking and looking around the house to start the generator. You can collect money in-game when you're in missions to come back to the Rook's Rest and make it better, so you can improve your skills in the field, but you can also improve like your weapon types and the way you heal and the amount of armor you can carry. So I really like that. Almost to a fault, actually, because of that mechanic of collecting money and then going back and building up your base, I found myself breaking the pace of the levels to stop and look for money all the time. That's just me. That's my Elden Ring mentality of like, I want to go everywhere. I want to seek everything. So there would be something happening that was like, quick, we need to chase this guy. And I knew it wouldn't trigger until I got to the point where I met my partner and we go and chase the guy. So I could just wander around and collect all the stuff. So that's an option that you do have. And I'm glad that I did that because I collected more money. It allowed me to build my base. But the whole time I was doing it, the guy's like, quick, we've got to go. Let's run. Let's go. And I knew that like I had infinite amount of time there. So that was my own style of gameplay, interrupting the pace of the mission. So from that respect, it wasn't quite so balanced because of there's a slight imbalance in the kind of I need to collect stuff, but there's also something important I need to get to. So that didn't really quite gel for me because of the way I play. So when I got back to the base, obviously it made sense for me to collect all this money and do all this stuff, and they want you to do it. But then when you're in game, they're like hurrying you up to try and get things moving, keep the pace of the action up and to keep the pace of the gameplay up. And it's like, actually, maybe there's a middle ground there that needs tweaking, because I did find that a little bit off-putting at times. Aside from that, yeah, I really like the campaign. Really, really great. Now, Warzone, I haven't jumped back into for a long time. It's something every time I look at it, I know what an epic commitment it will be from me, because once I get into it, I just won't leave. So, I haven't actually looked at that aspect of it. What I have done is spent an obscene amount of time in the multiplayer. I'm about 95% through Season 1. I'm about to prestige for the third or fourth time. I think maybe the fourth time. I've been absolutely loving it since Modern Warfare, the remake, and then Modern Warfare 2, which it all dovetailed into. Then Modern Warfare 3. Did 3 come out last year? Or 2, I can't remember. Whatever the last one was, I just went through all the multiplayer. The only thing is that building up through that multiplayer for the previous games, I collected quite a lot of skins. Obviously, that all reset when this came out, which is fine. I think it's quite a nice idea to have the Black Ops and the Modern Warfare running side by side. So I can go back to Modern Warfare at any point and play those skins that I've either purchased or collected in game. And as I've played, I put a lot of time into that. Back into this multiplayer, it's like a reset. The skins are really good. The gameplay's really good. The multi-directional controls now, which is something you can do in the campaign and the multiplayer, is really good. So you can now jump around corners, you can strafe left and right. You can control the camera with the left while you're moving right, and it kind of naturally moves you. You can leap backwards and lay on your back and shoot up. there's all these kind of different mechanics that they've added in, which has just made the multiplayer even more frantic and energetic. So really, really good. Multiplayer's on point in terms of gameplay. Absolutely love playing it. Really massive amount of weapon types, too many in fact. But, you know, whatever, you find what you like. You can really tailor it down in the weapons sort of refining section, you know, by adding different sights and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a certain amount of variety there that is brilliant. I do, you know, again, they bring out new characters all the time. They've just had like a Squid Game thing. You can see on screen here, they've had a Squid Game theme quite recently, which I think finishes either today or tomorrow, and they're starting another one which I think's a Terminator based one, which I quite like as well. So you've got the battle pass, and then you've got these little side battle things that you can play through, and they're usually tied into something that's quite recent. People call it a money grab, but if you're into this game, it's fun. It's like, you know, suddenly you're running around with Squid Game characters. I mean, there is some kind of, there is a sort of a point of view that's like, why am I dressed as like a tactical soldier and you're dressed as a giant cat? You know, there is a little bit of that. But I think let people play how they want to play. Let people have fun how they want to have fun. It's Fortnite's influence. I don't know if the balance is there. I mean, maybe there should be an option to toggle ridiculous skins versus what you're wearing if you want it to be a little bit more kind of tactical like that. But I don't know. I think it's fun. Team deathmatch, you know, the MVP, most valuable target, HV high value target, HVT. Yeah, that gameplay's fun as well. And there's a whole load of multiplayer options, like equivalent of like capture the flag, capture the area, all that sort of stuff. So just really, really great. So I have really enjoyed playing this game. I do think it's a lot of fun. I can't see myself stopping on the multiplayer because I'm really getting into it. And the way that I'm working at the moment, I've got so much work going on that you know, the chances of me being able to sink a lot of time into like an RPG at this precise moment in time just isn't going to work. So being able to drop in and do like 20 minutes here and there of multiplayer and just playing some matches has been really, really great, and scratches that itch that I've got to kind of zone out for a little bit and get into it. So yeah, really, really great. I would thoroughly recommend it. What am I going to give it? I mean, it is, you know, it's got all this stuff going on. Doesn't really have that many faults. I mean, is it amazing? I don't think it's amazing. Is it good? Yes. So I think for that reason, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's well worth playing if you want to get into it. The multiplayer especially, I think is worth a look, even if you don't do the campaign. But again, they've crossed things over, so like things that you earn in campaign then give you skins and weapon skins to play in the multiplayer. So there is a reason, and they know that like a lot of people just buy the game and play the multiplayer straight away and don't get into the campaign, but they're giving people reasons to work through the campaign as well, which I think is quite good. Anyway, that's all I've got to say on the matter. I'm through Black Ops 6. We're done with another Call of Duty. I'm probably not going to post that much multiplayer stuff up, really, just because it's not really something that I feel I want to talk more about. Maybe if I do get into Warzone, that might be a slightly different thing that I might start posting up. But either way, it's all a lot of fun. So what can I say? Until next time, be good. Stay safe and be kind to one another. Peace out. We gone out.